Welcome to what's going to be a solstice alignment meditation and activation. So we are here at the solstice was, I think, where I am is actually 11:13 this morning. So just an hour or two after this window. What's activating now is this huge, charged reconnectivity with divine consciousness that we are and the elemental plane of ourselves. Now, we're embodying this realization at as a vibratory state rather than a cognitive construct of unity, that we are one within our elemental environment. So the body is really remembering itself vibratorily. I love this word I've made up, vibratorily, as one. And in order to really enter this state and receive the activations this solstice that come with vibrating in a state of oneness with within the elemental planes, within the elemental kingdoms, there has been a lot of gathering of, shall we say, the flotsam and jetsam, the flack of living out of unity in a non-unity state, at a very physical level. So there's been a kind of gathering of where we are tantrically at war within ourselves. Our inner masculine and our inner feminine have been really fighting. There's an ending and a healing and a transcending of battle elements, so that there can be a dropping into and a resting within this divine unity vibratory state of oneness as an embodied thing within the elemental realms. So the real, I don't know who's been feeling it physically this solstice, or who's been having real strong emotions come up, or things going on in the physical world that have really kind of triggered us or got things moving. But up until literally I think the 11 o'clock threshold, up until the apex of the solstice was gathering and getting what's cooking and what wants to clear. And here we are now coasting out of it. So there's this chance to align with that deep embodied divine truth within us, and to drop in, as I say, vibratorily, so we can relax. Now, just before we start, there's such a high charge to the energies that are going to get activated in this window and also in this session. We're going to call in support from the guides and our beloveds to help us with our integration of what's being activated. But I keep getting, and it's come up already today a few times, to be really in the body, really physically in the body. So the invitation for just a minute or two now is to actually, if you can, wherever you are, stand up, breathe in deeply, or sit down, but breathe in deeply and let the breath open and expand the chest. And as it opens and expands the chest, let breath turn into a stretch. Maybe it starts that stretch, maybe it starts at the arms and shoulders, but maybe it travels down the spine. Do we want to open the rib cage out? How about the hips? And at this point, you might want to stand up and just allowing that breath and that movement to really lead us in directions that might be unexpected, that might feel a little strange, but we're looking for that lovely crunch, that lovely feel of crunch and expand, which is what the solstice is kind of bringing us, and it's really bringing it in the body. So you might want to, as you're breathing in, you might want, as you breathe out, to allow sound to come out. Let's spare the neighbours from that. So you might want to let sound come out, because that's a great way of expelling stress that's in tension. So breathing in, breathing out and letting the sound out. You do that 2 or 3 times, and there'll be less sound each time. So breathe in. There's a little bit less that time. And then breathe in. Okay, until there's not much air and you feel like you can settle back down into position and get comfy for where we're going to go. All right. So taking now that moment to get comfy. Now you've got water. Now you can be uninterrupted for about half an hour. And if not, just stay with it for as long as you've got and get what you can, okay? From this. Yeah. So we're going to center. Come into the present moment. You're invited to place attention on the soles of the feet. Open to notice the sensations happening there now. And just let the system rest with that noticing for a moment. It's not analyzing that. We're not taking readings or doing anything about it. We're just noticing the sensations in the soles of the feet. Anything else comes, just go, thanks, great, noted. Notice what happens to the whole system. So we've got activated physically, and now we're bringing our attention to our feet. We're just being there for a moment. Breathing as though that breath is happening in the feet. Having a listen without naming to those sensations there now. Okay. And you're invited to now, keeping a bit of attention with the feet sensation, to also notice that sensation of air rushing in through the nose or mouth. Even if it's the faintest sensation. So we're really fully present, we're fully in the body. Now we're going to center. So you may feel the energy is already starting. I can feel it, vibrations already moving and flowing in the field that we're holding together. It doesn't matter if you're watching this here and now, or if you join it later, you're still part of the field. And you'll notice there are differences between watching it now and watching it later, but you're still included in what's going on. Okay, so the invitation is, while we're in the present moment, we're in our bodies, to set the intention to receive only what's for us in a way that's safe and appropriate. And we're focusing on expansion. So dropping attention to notice the sensations in the physical chest. And as we breathe in, focusing on expansion with every breath. Gentle, not forcing anything. We're just allowing the expansion that's already here, that already wants to be embodied. He gently does it, and as things begin to move, you may begin to feel emotions in the heart. You may feel sensations in the body, so we are allowing, not worrying about what they mean at all. Focus on expansion. Give permission for all that arises to be a vibration, to be welcome, to show up. As we expand, there are always things that get pushed to the surface, but we don't have to manage them. We can just let them move. The field will take care of them. Our field will take care of them because we're centered, we're embodied, we're grounded. and we're expanding. Okay, and now you can call in support. You might know what support you need, or you might just want to call to the highest level guides of unconditionally loving support, or to your highest self, or to God, Goddess, all that is. I call for what's for me and the support that can help me. Open, activate, and expand in the way that's highest aligned for me right now. I'll repeat that, but you can find your own words. So I call to higher self, God, Goddess, all that is. I open to connect only with guides of unconditionally loving integrity, sources, unconditionally loving integrity. And I call for the support that's for me now. I open to receive the activations and the expansions that are in highest alignment with my truth. And don't worry about the words, it's the essence and the meaning that matters. You can just say in your heart, thanks, I'll have the support that's for me now safely. That's enough. Okay. So we're sitting in a shared field, and in that field, these frequencies are moving. And you, because of the natural intelligence of your own innate and the highest self, who is the protective presence in this for you, you'll be receiving what's for you. We will go on to meditate a little and be more specific. Just right now, there are frequencies in the field open and available to you. You don't have to know what they are or how to manage them. You're here. You've given your invitation. There you go. You can feel the peace of that expansiveness now. It's like when expansion first comes in, it feels a bit turbulent. There's a lot of it pushing up, but that stops. And beyond that place, there's the peace of being expanded in an expansive state. Yeah. To stay opening to notice the sensations in the body, not really naming them, but keeping yourself rooted in that sensory experience, if that's what's live for you. Otherwise, stay with just what you notice, thoughts that come up, emotions that want to be here. Just wherever your attention gets called, you notice without getting involved. Be the observer if you can. It keeps you anchored in your own internal experience. Okay. If there's not much to notice, it really doesn't matter. This is an intelligence governing what lands and what doesn't. It's just how it's set up. The reason we're keeping attention focused in the body, and if you notice nothing else, just noticing the breath, the sensations, and giving yourself time to be with that is more than enough for a few moments. Okay, so what I'm feeling now is there's another wave of expansion. We're still with the energy activation part of this transmission, and there's another wave of expansion in the field. So again, you're just invited to breathe deeply into the chest. Allow the chest to expand, the shoulders to roll back, the body to be open and soft. And keep attention on noticing that rhythm of breath in the body, the up and the down, the in and the out. Until all there really is just that. sensation, breath as a rhythm. Okay, we're moving now into the meditation part of this little journey. So you're invited to close the outward facing eyes and make the intention to turn those eyes inwards, dropping them into the heart and center as though that was a seat of all seeing. And part of you is just resting here, reclined now with nothing to do. That would be here. Allowing all the sensations in the body to be as they are, all the emotions, the thoughts, to tumble out, to show up. And see if you can meet them as vibration rather than stories. You are the I beyond the stories in these moments. And these moments are precious because when you are the I beyond the stories, many, many, many stories can unfold, can dissolve, can renew without you controlling how that happens. And in these gateways, these gateway moments, especially in the energies of this summer solstice, there is infinite potential for what wants to renew, and we just do not need to be aware of it all. We just put ourselves in the right place, in the right position, open, allow, be with what we're feeling. You're dropping into the heart and center, taking up that reclined position, letting everything fall away now. No noticing, nothing to do. In this moment, nothing is needed of you. In order for you to be here now, to be enough, to be infinitely loved, to be infinite love. You can let the words I am sound in the heart, as though a gong is struck here now. Notice how the breath takes care of itself. We know it does, but just notice that from here. And the longer we stay in this moment, the more we might feel in the field. We might have constrictions or tightnesses arise. Distractions might want to get our attention. You can just stay with this not knowingness. This moment. And again, staying with it. And really honoring, thanking anything that shows up, any strange sensations, any distracting thoughts, anything trying to get our attention, just thanking that for showing up in this space, here and now. No accidents, it's not here by mistake, even if we think it's a distraction. Remember, these moments are precious because although we don't know exactly what's happening, things are allowed to move. We are giving them space to transform in this gateway. Old patterns, old templates, ancient scripts governing how we create our reality, how our experience is holographically projected from all those encodements that we hold within the fields of consciousness we are. Everything we're experiencing has its roots in some script within us, and in these moments, dropping into spaciousness allows those scripts that have reached the end of their half-life and are already vibrating, ready to leave, to go home, because we're home. And the doorway is directly open. It's just the breath, this moment, and the I that we are. Even the words don't matter. We give the mind a job to do in these moments. The mind isn't always good with uncertainty, so we tell it to just observe, record, so it can later be retrieved. That's its job right now. If that's too much, we just give it the job of notice the breath then. Keep track of that. All right, maybe you even feel things releasing around the head. I don't know what's going on in your field, but in the field, I can definitely feel in this moment, it's a big collective shift around cognitive patterns. There's kind of tightness that's coming up in this field of being in oneness. And in the moment, there's a tightness around the mental plane that wants to just dissolve into this, disintegrate into this piece of expansion. That's why I say trust any sensations that come in a meditation like this. Thank them and allow them. Because then whatever it is in us gets to feed back to God, to all that is. And when it's fed back, it's expressed its pain or its tightness or its dissonance, then it can relax. This is why we listen. Never bypass straight to happy, feel good, but listen to what's really here right now. Deeply honoring that. Not fearing it, never fearing it. It's here to move and here to go home. So this is the point of the meditation where we can listen to the little tweaks and twags and funny things going on in our sensations in the body. If there's nothing to notice, just enjoy the moment. But this is the space that's created where we're inviting transformation that wants to take place. I'm getting a lot around the head and a lot around the heart. You might be getting different things, so stay with what's real for you now. Know that you're supported, that we are held right now. And we're still keeping that very loose attention on this expansion, the expansiveness that is now. It's going to bring up little tightnesses in us because that's what happens when we rest in expansion and we allow that. And again, to say we're listening to the body, and you might want to let the body soften and let the breath move the body, the breath turn into movement. And those movements can be strange and unexpected. They can be gentle, they can be strong. We're going to breathe in, let the breath expand. Let the breath expand our chest and our body. And let that expansion turn into movement in the body. Really trust that. I mean, this is a body elemental activation happening now. I mean, the body is the site of the reset and the renewal in consciousness. It's going through its own processes, and we're not meant to understand them all, but we can really give them space. Let that go all the way down the spine to the hips and the legs to the toes. To be gentle and careful with yourself. Okay, and now as we breathe in, you're invited to imagine that breath isn't just flowing in the body all the way to the toes, the fingertips, the head. This breath is flowing up beyond the body into our field, whatever that means to you. You can let that meaning be loose and fluid or definite. Yeah, I always see the field like a cell, an energy cell, with many, 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 many layers. It's multidimensional, it's holographic. I don't need to have this full, complete. I can have a symbolic image of the field of consciousness. As I breathe in, the breathing in from within, from all that is, directly into the heart gateway. And just as the body knows how to circulate blood around its physical system, so does our innate system, our innate intelligence know how to circulate this breath, the breath of life, the breath of all that is, knows where it goes. So all we do is we breathe in and allow for the possibility this breath is extending out way beyond the body. Flowing and returning to the gateway, flowing and returning to the gateway. And stay with, rather than trying to figure out what that means, stay with how we feel in the body right now. The in and the out. The rise and the fall. And you might feel a little tiredness at this point. It's okay. It's sometimes you think, oh, it's tiredness with the meditation, but actually that comes with the parts of us that are letting go, that have been holding on tight. When expansion comes in, those parts that are tight, they open, they soften by degrees, and then they let go. And we can feel that physical tiredness sometimes. That can be like, oh, I've had enough. Let's go away. And just let the tiredness be here, if that's what's here for you now. Maybe you feel energized. I'm really noticing that. Oh, and drop. And allow the dropping. Sacred exhaustion. Especially when we're moving the body while we're doing this, because we're really releasing things that have been kept anchored in muscles, the organs, the physical flows, and the energy biology flows. They're so connected. So we release something from the energy biology, but we do it when we're present in the body. And of course, we're going to release from the body as well. So the body can have its own experience. This is a more embodied way of working with energy than just being with the meditation without moving. So, and what I'm really feeling coming in this solstice is a kind of self-love. This note of self-love. I know that word can have a lot of meanings for each of us, have engaged with that concept in different ways and danced with self-love. But this is an honoring of the I that I am, by inviting myself to be fully present as this I in this now moment, as though this moment were the only one there ever was, as if there is only this moment, now. Okay. So allowing the spaciousness that comes with that. Imagining this field of sensations of breath and activity and movement. It's still a field, it's still got a shape. And just possibly, we could fall in and fall out and beyond the shape of all that's happening in our experience right now. Maybe there's a spaciousness beyond all that activity that we were just dancing with. You just, yeah. Maybe those sensations are still here and activity still is, and that flow and energy is still moving, and life is still dancing in us and with us and through us, breathing into our beingness. And as well, maybe there's a space beyond all of that. What if? So I'm going to answer this question. What if there's a space beyond everything I'm experiencing right now? What if in this space I'm still observing all of the activities? This breath, this energy, this physical experience here now. But just for a moment, maybe I'm not sat in them. Maybe I'm sat beyond them, observing. What's it like? Just ask another answerless question. What's it like? Here now. I don't need an answer. And that's it. Just a few moments touching down in that emptiness. Whether we think we made it or not, or what happened for us, doesn't matter. What happened for us was what needed to. That was enough. Just touching down, that's enough. Here and now. Being with the breath. Bringing attention back to the soles of the feet. That sensation is happening there. Bringing attention to that rush of air in the nose. That sensation is possibly also happening there. And keeping the head tilted downwards. You just open the eyes and maybe stay with this, how we are right now, within. And open the eyes and see if we can stay with our inner experience, our inner state. And then open to notice the sounds and the environment around us, or even outside our immediate environment. Let's just say if we can stay within how we're feeling. Maybe at this point, thoughts kick in, that's okay. Even while the thoughts are there, see if we can stay with how we feel within. And relaxing now even more deeply in the body. At this point, we're going to move again, if you are happy to. And this time, imagine that you're not needing to move. There is no need in this moment to do anything. And from this place of not needing, see if the body gives you a nudge or a lean. It can be the subtlest, or it can be strong. But we're giving full permission over to the body to let us be lean. You know? You don't need to know why, it doesn't matter. Does that lean want to turn into an arm movement? What if we let our neck and head soften, be part of that very gentle leaning that's happening now? So we're not holding ourselves rigid, but we are listening for the subtlest indications. I'm just treating them as really precious. Like, wow, body, I didn't know you wanted to lean sideways. Okay, we can do that. Maybe it's even ready to stand up. If it's not, don't force this. And again, the body is our lead. Coming from within, staying focused on how we feel inside. Letting those sensations be our guide. You know, the mind might think, oh, I know what this movement's going to be. I'll go with it. Just see if you can really stay with what the body is feeling. Don't second guess it and go, this is going to turn into upper leg lift or a hip roll or And you can even notice the qualities now. You give the mind something to do, like notice the qualities of the movement. I mean, I'm getting real softness, like expansion, but very delicate, very gentle. Also, we have got under. That's too good. So just where I am, there's a thunderstorm now, and it's beautiful because the pressure has been building for the solstice, and the pressure has been building in the weather where I am. And you know, the thunderstorm has come right on the solstice moment. And the rain is now pouring, and it's just it's too on point. It's too beautiful. I mean, you can probably hear that. It is hammering out there. Where I am, it does not rain this time of year very often, so we are. I'm enjoying the experience. All right, we're still with these movements. I'm still noticing the qualities that you are getting in your own movements. I have a feeling we're going to hear from the guides after this. So if you've got that time and you can give yourself a little bit extra to be with the messages that are going to come through, they will help with the continued activations and integrations. So you can hear me over the storm. All right, so I can feel that gently coming to a close in myself. I don't want to rush it, but the body can walk us back down to our chairs or where we're sitting when we're ready. All right. Okay. Yeah, little one. You good? So just taking a few moments to integrate the goodness in this. You know, what we're opening to is beautifulness, it's goodness. It's going to help us enjoy life more. It's going to help us enjoy being more. And it's going to help us run with energies that are our divine birthright. They're part of our blueprint. We are just coming online. You know, we're not pulling in things that don't already belong in us. We're opening up things that have been asleep. Because we've come so far, because we've done so much work on ourselves, because our systems are stabilized in their expansion, in their connectivity, that they are open to integrate even more connectivity as a grounded, embodied, vibrational state that we get to walk with in daily life. I offer a lot of tools and practices and techniques and processes and meditations that help us stay expanded and aware and connected while we go about our day. But I think there's a real beauty as well in the fact that expansion is becoming more normalized, connectivity is becoming more integrated and embodied. And there's less and less trying involved in opening to connectivity and going about our days. You know, there's less separation between the inner and the outer, between the energetic and the physical, you know, between consciousness and matter, that natural state of truth that all is, well, what I would call truth is that all is consciousness, all is vibratory. Consciousness in a vibratory state, in interaction within itself, is migrating from being understood as a concept into being embodied as a physical reality, and in turn affecting and rewriting how we are holographically projecting our individual and our shared physical realities. Now, what comes with the element, here we go, we're going into channeling now, so stay with your internal experience, notice the breath in the body, make the intention to receive just what's for you in a way that's safe and loving. So we're going to go into words for the last part of this transmission. Okay. Just going to let that. Yeah. We are delighted to sit with you. Thank you so much for being here. We are the Syrians, and we come to you with joy in our hearts, for we bring the activations that are part of the play of this solstice, shall we say, the dance of interactivity between yourselves and the all that is an ever deepening, ever more intricate expansion. It's an ever deepening and an ever more intricate reality. You are normalizing what is happening in your expanded state so that you may ground this into the here and now of your lived human reality. You no longer need to abandon your practical concerns, your material, worldly life, in order to have the realization of oneness as a felt, lived, embodied practice that becomes a way of life. You can bring oneness awareness to the washing up, to the most mundane tasks, to the most challenging work situations, to your co-creative projects. And it is co-creativity that we wish to sing to you about at this time. For we have been preparing for this co-creativity activation that is the summer solstice main event for months. The first half of the year has seen you all very much collectively anchored in healing and processing and clearing the blocks you have, especially related to each other, how love relates to itself when it's another human being relating to another human being. You have seen in your world such conflict and may have experienced to varying degrees the interplay of conflicting internal forces where you have been maybe living with yourself out of divine marriage and in a state of this is natural. This is not something to be feared or judged. It is simply what has happened, but it is very much and ever increasingly so the story of what was. It is not the story of what is now. And this is why you are so supported in coming into a place of peace, in centering in the silence, and finding the spaciousness outside of time, whilst also being firmly rooted in time. For you are both creatures of time and beyond time. And you are able to hold the opposites in the widest of spectrums. That is what being human and activating, becoming 5D, becoming aware, awakening. This is what it is. It is to be human and hold the spectrum of opposites until you realize they are no longer opposite. You are depolarizing, because you see from a place of oneness what appears to be an opposite from a place of separation. From a place of oneness is simply something in a relationship with something else. And what brings the relationship between opposites into unity is being always in the center point, the fulcrum, the balance on the scales, or the 0 point you could look at. The center point is also always the doorway to source, the doorway to the consciousness you are, the self beyond the stories, the I beyond all of the activity that is. You are the I beyond all of the activity, and you are also the activity. Anchoring in the center point, relaxing into being the I beyond the activity, brings the activity into alignment, into harmonic resonance. Into equilibrium within itself. And so rather than having to destroy, throw out, and abandon the idea that you are life in order to be aware, you are also life. Aware that you are also beyond all life brings how life shows up within you, the field of consciousness that is the individuation you are within oneness. It brings it into equilibrium. You see that these seemingly opposites are not opposites are two. They are two. They are also. You are also all of everything. And there is the capacity to walk with this. How do you do this? You stay, you keep grounded, you stay centered, and and you are present in the here and now. We have been playing with this idea already today, and so we are quite happy to be bringing it into this transmission. You are fully capable of humanly experiencing the divine multidimensionality of being. In this 0 point, your timelines can dissolve, your histories can be rewritten, the vibration of trauma in the past can be dissolved, emotions that are stuck can be gone, and thoughts and ideas and expectations about reality can be rewritten because you are opening to a perspective within yourself that is always anchored in the vastness beyond the stories, beyond the activity of what might be happening in that moment. What has happened to you in the past remains until the vibrations of its happening have been re-equalized and become again harmonious. This is why events from the past can write the future until you drop into the now and allow it to dissolve, collapsing a possible timeline and opening up to infinite possibility where limitation existed. The field and the arena in which the collective consciousness is activating new templates for itself in the collective human blueprint now is that of collective co-creation, collective conscious co-creation, human to human. Of course, when you create with all the arenas of consciousness. You have your teams throughout the dimensions. You create with the earth, the elementals, the guides, the astral bodies. You create with all that is, of course. But your activation, the reset, the calling home that's happening is how you create as love, relating to itself as love in the face and actions and behaviors of another human being. You guys are ready to take off. You have ideas. You have inspirations. There are new technologies that have been cooking up. There are innovations that want to come in. There are creative projects that are bubbling over. And this is the pinnacle. This is the point where we shift from looking at what do you need to clear from your fields into, what should we do? What if nothing was needed right now? Nothing. What if the world doesn't need you, doesn't need your gifts, doesn't need what you've got? What if there's no one to rescue? Now, this is a tough one for some of you, but what if, just for a moment, entertain the possibility that what if you are not here to rescue someone? What if nothing was needed of you? What if you were not in a crisis with your creations, answering desperate needs? What if? What then? Now, I am not saying that you would then fail to help others, that you would then not be what enables other beings to be rescued, to be lifted, to be shifted and transformed and helped in the ways that are needed. But what if you're creating? The energy's running in you while you create. What if they are in a higher frequential vibration coming from a place of enoughness, needlessness? So we invite you into the needlessness of now. We see you holding hands, ready to play. Each of you so fired up in your own creativity, in your own purpose and role in the place you have in the picture of all that is, and all of you have a place and all of you have a purpose. Every single consciousness in this picture has a place and a purpose and belongs. And you are as a circle gathered, ready to dance. That image of creating, that dance, is what lifts you beyond the arena where you're running across a gap to rescue a falling one. Be in the dance, beloveds, and the falling will be caught. Find that needlessness of now in every day, in every moment of every day. When you recognize yourself that you have something to give this world that gets you out of bed, that inspires you to connect with others, that to call in the support you need to get your project off the ground. To make your creation happen, be it the smallest moment of a day or some grand venture that actually requires a team of people to work on. Whatever this is, getting out of bed, a day is a creation. How you create your day can be your creation. It doesn't have to be a monumental project. You don't have to give a presentation to the world on this. What if you got out of bed in the needlessness of now? What then could inspire you to move? What then could energize you to take actions that might be unexpected actions? They might not fit within the patterns and rhythms of what you have planned. They might not fit within what you've known. You might feel impulsed and inspired and joyful to act in a way that surprises you, that takes you by, that's unexpected, that takes you in a direction you didn't know about before, or that has you say yes to something that maybe didn't feel comfortable before, but perhaps you could open to now if you let go of the preconceptions that come from the past, because preconceptions generally do come from the past. You are all ready to roll. But just as your embodiment movement at the end of that meditation, you may have found it was a little softer, a little gentler, and a little lighter. That when you were moving, if you moved with us at the beginning, so too is this opening to co-creative play between yourselves allowed to have a soft, gentle, tentative, quite delicate beginnings. You do not need to hit the ground running. Although you're fired up to do so, many of you do not need to. There is time and space to feel your way forward and to be very kind, because what you are embarking upon now in setting new templates for future generations, the co-creative play and how human being interacts to human being when they're here to bring something into the world, they will change the nature of the creations that are going to form the foundations of the world, those creations that then hold human beings in their human experience. A home, everything in the home, all these things subtly channel certain experiences to be had by a human being, holding them, being held within them. When the very foundation for how you are co-creating is a blueprint that's being rewritten, you are actually laying the foundations for the new earth by rewriting the very way, the reasons why you co-create together. When you rewrite the reasons, you rewrite the end result. When you rewrite the end result, the consequences will be different. When the consequences will be different, the effects and the experience of everyone resting within those creations, matter creations, worldly creations, earthly creations, bought and sold creations, consumed creations. This is how, the how of this, the why of this is what you're changing. There are new principles coming in, heart-focused principles that are stabilizing, will stabilize, and as they are stabilizing to provide a solid alternative to current commercial values that are fully anchored in the human cultural collective consciousness now. You are all aware of what you would prefer not to see when it comes to capitalism. You all have your own particular, unique uncomfortablenesses with this. Capitalism is a symptom of creation where it's been distorted. The why of it has fallen into deep distortion. And this is what you've all been working on within yourselves, why of creation. And this is why, just to wrap this up, we invite you always into the needlessness of now. Because in the needlessness of now, inspiration comes from the I who knows itself as one within all that is, who's here to play, to bring in harmony more of that which is harmonious, and therefore supports more of harmony being experienced by all. It is not a construct. Harmony is a natural state. It's a state that all of consciousness wishes to rest within, and it lets go of what's keeping it vibrationally out of, well, in a state of tension outside of that resonance of harmony within. You rest in harmony, you drop into the needlessness of now, you change the way of creating, you do it all together as a world, and what do you know? You're rewriting the planet from the foundation, from the ground up. This is why we say from the solstice moving forward, gentle movements, guys, soft, kind, compassionate, forgiving with each other. You are learning how to play together in the playground, just like children. In their first day at school, they don't know the rules. They don't know what other children are like. How is it going to work? Well, you guys are pretty similar, but it's a world that you're building. Now, step one, here and now, is human to human co-creation. Step 2, 3, 4, and all the rest are when we bring in why humans are never alone, how you co-create with the planet, the elementals, all of life, the different dimensions of consciousness, all the beings that work and inhabit those different dimensions. This is when it gets more fun. But you know what? A, B, C. Little steps. This has never been before. So we are celebrating you, we're cheering you on, we are applauding like you would not believe. And we can't wait to see what you do because we don't know, it's not written yet. You haven't made it up yet. You guys are making this up. You're doing it. And you are infinite beings of limitless possibility. And we are just here to help you anchor in joy and peace and enoughness, so that the absolute most opulent, most wonderful, most beautiful potential for human nature is what's supported, is what's expanding, is what can be realized and made manifest. No pressure. You're here to play. Thank you. We love you. Bless you. And thank you so much for taking time on this precious solstice day to be with this, to be with us, to dance in this field of co-creativity. We are just delighted and look forward to even more opportunities to be with you. So from love to love, Eddie. I think we can just sit and resonate with how we are for a few moments and integrate that, no? Before we rush off anywhere. Okay, I think I can feel that landing now. I don't know about you, but I'm really feeling that gentleness of what they were talking about and that permission to be gentle. And to be gentle with ourselves and with each other, but also that, yeah, we are shifting from healing to play. Here's to joy. Here's to more of joy, more of playfulness, more of needlessness. I think that's what I'm going to take away from this. So maybe, you think about what you're going to take away from this, but tomorrow we're going to go live, me and Jiva, around where we're actually going to look at the energies. We haven't done a big energy update this solstice. It's more about being here for the moment, receiving. Tomorrow we'll be bringing in integration support and we'll be looking a little bit more at what the energies were that have been activated. And again, there'll be more chance for question and answer with guides, especially with Jiva. So if you want to join us for that, I'm going to set up a new link for it. If you want to receive links for these and get notice ahead of time, always you can message me with your email address because this is how they go out. And you can get notified if you want to be aware of when these are happening, or get the recording sent to you afterwards. Thank you. Just thank you so much for being here. And really feel that holding that we have together. And it's like, I know the guys have spoken and we're not channeling, but what I'm aware of now is the resonance of the field and the fact that we're in it and we're actually exchanging between us. There's this beautiful exchange between those of us who just, we're in resonance. We're here now. We're exchanging what's for us in the moment. I always think higher self to higher self. You can always, you can walk into a room, you know, you get those moments where you're like, wow, I'm supposed to connect with you, but you don't know why. You can always make an intention to go higher self to their higher self. Okay, please just exchange in the most benevolent, safe, appropriate, loving way, whatever is for us, you know, with permission from them. So you can, everything goes through your higher self, and your higher self will guard permissions, free will. It will only allow what is safe and appropriate, will only allow what's supportive. But there is that, we're entering more a collective field of natural inter-exchange, where we have gifts to share, where consciousness coming online, remembering itself. We are not all here to remember the same thing. We bring our song, be like a little note, and that field of effortless interaction, it's just more and more, it's more and more effortless. You know, I've got this, they've got this, and we're exchanging consciously and unconsciously all the time. So anyway, more on that tomorrow, I reckon. Let's go integrate. Here it's lunchtime and I can go and eat. I don't know where you are and whether it's lunchtime where you are, but I recommend taking a walk, getting some fresh air and grounding. I hope you have a beautiful solstice. So much love. Bye for now.